Today is the day the NHL season resumes for the 2023-24 season. So to kick off the season, we're going to make some bold predictions. Today I have 32 bold predictions for 32 NHL teams, and that's coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're getting ready to make some bold predictions for the upcoming 23-24 season, which gets underway this evening with a triple header of NHL games. So we're going to make 32 predictions since there's 32 teams, not necessarily one for every team specifically, but 32 key items that I feel around the NHL that things I expect to see. Of course, I don't expect to get all of these right. I wouldn't be shocked if very few are right. This is strictly just for fun. I ask that you be respectful with my predictions, and if you think something different is going to happen, that's totally cool. Just make sure you leave some comments down below with what you think is going to happen so we can discuss it and see how yours may differ from mine. So let's get started. Bold prediction number 1, Connor Bedard becomes the first rookie since Sidney Crosby to put up a 100-point season. I think even though he doesn't have a great supporting cast in Chicago, this can be done with this kid's talent. Crosby did it in his rookie year on a fairly weak Penguins team, and I think Bedard is good enough to get this done as well. He's going to be a very special player throughout his career, and he's going to kick things off the right way. This kid always overachieves, and I have no doubt in Chicago he's going to do the same thing. I think for argument's sake here, to break down 100 points, I can see probably being upwards of 40 goals and 60 assists would be my prediction if you want to get a little bit more specific that way. Bold prediction number 2, Jack Hughes, who's making some huge strides in his career in the last couple of seasons, will once again make big strides this year, and he will score 50 goals and join the 100-point plateau as well. Even though he's going to hit 50 goals, he will not win the Rocket Richard Trophy, though. There will be players with more goals than him, but he'll be in the mix and certainly have another breakout season where he takes his game to an even higher level. Bold prediction number 3. This one really probably doesn't seem too bold because this guy can do everything he can really imagine. But Connor McDavid is going to repeat his 60-plus goal season. And this year I have him hitting 150 points. I think he's going to continue to raise his game to an all-new level. The Oilers are going to have an immaculate regular season on the back of McDavid, Draisaitl, and a few other supporting cast members. And he's going to have another season, of course, where he wins the Art Ross. And he's going to be in the mix for the Rocket Richard Trophy, likely winning it as well. This is a dominant performance, and he found another level last year, and I think he can continue to do it again and take it up even another step further. Bold prediction number 4, Montreal Canadiens forward Cole Caulfield is going to stay healthy, have a first full complete season, and score 40-plus goals. I'm not going to say 50 for Caulfield, but I think he'll hit 40 or in the low 40s at least, and build upon that. I can see him hitting 50 in the future. This kid can score goals with the best of them, and we'll see a major breakout campaign this year. We would have seen it before had he stayed healthy. He was on pace to do so before the shoulder injury last year. Bold prediction number 5. Again, I'm not sure how bold this one is, but it's a prediction nonetheless. The San Jose Sharks are going to finish dead last in the NHL standings. They will be team number 32. Unfortunately, though, I don't see them winning the draft lottery, and I'll give you a prediction on who I think is going to win that a little bit later. Bold prediction number 6. The Arizona Coyotes are going to be drastically improved this year. They're going to be in the playoff mix down the stretch, but ultimately fall just a little bit short and miss out on the playoffs by just a few points. But they will be, like I said, playing meaningful games into March and be in the mix down the stretch. I'm not sure exactly when they'll fall out of it. I'm going to say probably with at least a couple weeks to go in the season. Bold prediction number 7, the Los Angeles Kings are going to make one of the more significant trades of the year, and this one will involve acquiring a starting goaltender. The Kings have a really deep forward group. They have a pretty solid D-core. Goaltending is the big question mark there, and I don't think they're going to allow themselves to take a step back off subpar goaltending from Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley. To me, it's just not ideal to place your bets on not being your goaltending tandem. Maybe they'll surprise us, and maybe I'll turn out to be wrong on this, but I don't have a ton of confidence in Talbot. I think Copley can be good for stretches. I don't know that I'd be willing to bet on him as a full-time starting goaltender, especially going into the playoffs. So I see them making a trade. I haven't indicated who that goaltender is going to be. Obviously, a guy like Connor Hellebuyck just came off the market by signing a big extension in Winnipeg in the last 24 hours. But yeah, I see LA making a goaltending upgrade probably in the first half of the NHL season. Bold prediction number 8, joining the century mark in points this year will be Sens top centerman Timmy Stützle. We saw big strides last year, passing the 90-point plateau. I think he and Tkachuk and Giroux will continue to be one of the top lines in hockey, and we will see Stützle past the 100-point plateau, and certainly something you don't often see in Ottawa. He'll be right up there with some of the Ottawa record holders for sure. Bold prediction number 9. The Tampa Bay Lightning take a major step back with Vasilevsky being injured, missing the first few months of the season. Even when he comes back, he's going to ease into things. I'm going to say his injury might even take a little longer than expected. They do have an aging core mixed in with a few good younger players for sure, but I just don't know that they're going to have enough on the back end and that they're going to end up taking a step back significant enough to miss the playoffs. I know I hate betting against Tampa, and they're probably going to prove me wrong on that one. Would not be shocked at all if that one is wrong, but I can see if it's not this year, it's going to be soon. Like between Tampa and teams like Bruins and stuff that had older players that had significant losses, I just think it's going to happen over time, and I think this is going to be the year for Tampa. Bold prediction number 10, Jonathan Huberdeau bounces back in Calgary with a whole new coaching staff and renewed attitude and outlook on the game. He mentioned several times in interviews that last year he just wasn't having fun. Obviously, Daryl Sutter was terrible for him as an individual, as well as most of the other teammates on the team. I can see Huberdeau bouncing back, maybe not back to the 100-point player he was a few years ago, but at least back into the 80, 90-point respectable plateau so that his contract is a lot more justifiable. Bold prediction number 11, Jonathan Drouin, who signed as a free agent with the Avalanche after several subpar years with Montreal, including a lot of missed time due to injuries and time away from the game that he took through the player assistance program, is going to turn out to be one of the best, if not the best, bargain signing, reuniting with his former junior teammate Nathan MacKinnon. I think Drouin's going to have one of the best, if not a career season, and prove his worth with the Avalanche, making it difficult for them to consider signing him again for next year and beyond. But if he's going to stay in Colorado and continue to build upon what he did this year, he's likely going to have to take less money than he might be able to get on the open market. But hard to say how many teams are going to line up, knowing that he did what he did in Colorado because of the surroundings and his teammates. And I think it'll work out for him to stay there for a while. Overall, maybe in the second half of the year, we'll see them work out a team-friendly contract extension. Bold prediction number 12, former number 1 overall pick for the New York Rangers, Alexis Lafreniere, is going to continue to struggle. We're going to start hearing a lot of rumors about trades. We've already had some of them. They're going to pick up after we get a couple of months into the season. And at some point before the NHL trade deadline, maybe even by Christmas or January, I'm going to predict that the Rangers pull off a trade for the former first overall pick. I'm not sure where he's heading just yet. There's a lot of talk about the Habs being interested, considering Jeff Gorton's connection there, being the former GM who drafted him in New York. We'll see what happens, but I don't think Lafreniere has a long future in the Big Apple. Bold prediction number 13, the St. Louis Blues missed the playoffs, and Jordan Binnington loses his number 1 job, but he's obviously had for a few years the big contract after winning the Cup, and he's regressed significantly year after year after year. I'm going to say that he's probably going to lose that job to Joel Hofer this year, and he'll be on the bench more often than not in the Blues. I just don't see having a great season. They're going to in a tough division, and I'm just not sure that even if I'm wrong with how the team does, still don't have a lot of confidence in Binnington. I can still see that part of the prediction coming true. Bold prediction number 14, Islanders duo Matthew Barzal and Bo Horvat will connect for a big year this year. They will build off the chemistry they started to get last year before Barzal got hurt. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to be enough to get the Islanders into the playoffs, but they will feel a lot better about the contract extensions for those two guys leading into the future after having career seasons, especially on Barzal's front. Bold prediction number 15, Vancouver. They continue to not be a playoff team. The struggles continue, and probably by the halfway point of the year, it's going to be pretty obvious that playoffs are going to be difficult, if not a foregone conclusion that it's not happening, and you're going to start to hear the rumors about the future of Elias Pettersson. We've already heard some talk about how the team and the player both are reluctant to give a commitment on a future and, connect on a long-term contract. I think it's going to be, into the offseason before we know for sure. But I think we're going to see the Canucks, unfortunately, not really be able to put together the season that Pettersson's hoping for in order to give a commitment to the team and sign a long-term extension. Bold prediction number 16, going to be one of the teams that you see. It's happened a few times, but after making the final last year, the Florida Panthers are going to take a step back this year and miss the playoffs. I think the Panthers are going to be in tough and a couple of reasons. One, they're going to be missing their top two defensemen, Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour, for the first few months of the season. That's going to make it tough to have a good start. They're also, to me, I'm not sure that I'm confident that Sergei Bobrovsky can continue to play the way he did in the playoffs last year. Regular season Bobrovsky for the last number of years has been extremely unreliable, and you factor the fact in that they put Spencer Knight in the minors to get himself reacclimated. They don't necessarily have the, like Alex Lyon provided a lot to them last year, and Knight did early on too, and it's just not going to be there, I don't think. So to me, offensively, they're still going to be a potent team, no doubt, but I think they're going to have a hard time keeping the puck out of their net. I'm not saying they're going to completely bomb and miss the playoffs by like a ton. They'll be in the mix for sure, but I can see them, just like last year, being right down to the wire, and this time falling just a little bit short. Bold prediction number 17. The Alex DeBrincat-Dylan Larkin connection in Detroit is going to struggle to find chemistry. Alex DeBrincat's production won't be any better than it was in Ottawa last year. Obviously, DeBrincat had a variety of reasons why it wasn't better last year. He also had probably fair to say, a difficult time getting the chemistry going after a long time in Chicago. When you change teams, it can take some time. Certainly, DeBrincat also made some comments that he may not have, maybe pushed himself hard enough and gave up on chances, etc. And I don't expect that to continue, but considering the power play and line mates that he expects to play on so far in the preseason, it looks like it's been a slow start, and I think he's still going to have a good season. I just don't know that we're going to see that 40-goal player that he was in Chicago. I think he's going to be more like a 25 to 30 goal, probably 30 goal guy in Detroit, which is still really good, still justifies his contract, but I'm not sure that he's going to be that guy that they might be expecting, that Ottawa was expecting last year. Bold prediction number 18. Ultimately, when Patrick Kane eventually signs an NHL contract for the year, I'm going to predict that he's going to end up in Vegas. I know there's lots of teams in the mix. I've seen predictions about Florida, seen predictions about Buffalo. He is going to be watching closely to all the teams, and he may not sign a contract until sometime in November. It might be mid to late November, and he's probably not going to sign with a team that might get off to a poor start. At least that's what many people seem to think. I think Vegas is going to have a good start. They always seem to find a way to get the big shiny object and get the top names there. I don't know what he's going to sign for. I'm going to suggest that it's not going to be a huge contract, and that they'll figure out a way to make it happen. We know they're not afraid to make tough decisions out there, and it's certainly a destination a lot of players are interested in playing. So to me, that's where I think Kane is going to end up. There are a few other locations, though, that, including his hometown of Buffalo, that do make sense. I wouldn't be completely shocked in that, but right now I'm going with Vegas. The bold prediction 19, Alexander Ovechkin. This probably isn't overly bold because he seems to do it with fairly ease and regularity, but I'm going to say Ovi has another 50-goal campaign, leaving the number to pass Wayne Gretzky's record next season to be quite small, and should be able to pass it probably by halfway through next season or thereabouts, depending if he's able to stay healthy. Bold prediction number 20. Right, we're going to have 5 Canadian NHL teams make an appearance in the playoffs this year. Obviously, it's going to be a good year for Canadian teams in that sense. Your 2 teams that will not be in the playoffs this year, my prediction for Canada, will be Montreal and Vancouver. Bold prediction number 21. Before the end of the NHL season, you're going to start to hear the NHL talk more about expansion and officially open the process of other ownership or cities being able to put applications forward that are interested in getting a new expansion team. I don't expect there to be decisions for quite some time after that, but I think before the end of this year, they're going to officially open the process up so that they can actually receive bids and expressions of interest in a more formal manner. And they're probably going to say that, initially that they're going to probably want to add 2 more teams. One in the East and one in the West would be my prediction. Bold prediction number 22, Nico Hischier will emerge as the Selke Trophy winner this year. Of course, Patrice Bergeron was a mainstay in that award for some time. Without Bergeron being in the mix, I think Nico Hischier, I'm not going to say he's going to dominate this award for the next 5 to 10 years, but he's certainly somebody who's going to be in the mix for sure, and I can definitely be seeing a strong contender. And this year, though, he will come out victorious. Bold prediction number 23, as I predicted earlier with the Florida Panthers falling out of the playoffs. The fact that they're going to be in the mix, but they're not going to be a guaranteed spot. We're going to see a lot of chatter around Sam Reinhart being a trade deadline acquisition, and he'll be one of the bigger names. I'm not going to say whether or not he's going to be traded, but he's going to be one of the bigger rumored players on the market. It's not that Florida wants to part with him, but after multiple, productive years in their cap situation, it's just going to prove very difficult to retain him. And whether not being in a playoff spot, he'll be one of the highly rumored players you hear about down the stretch. I'm going to predict that we're going to see 7 50-goal scorers this year or more. So that's going to include a list of Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, Pasternak, Ovechkin, and I'm going to say Tage Thompson and Jack Hughes make the list as well. Bold prediction number 25. We're going to get late season news, whether it be into sometime in February, maybe March before it's official. The NHL will announce that the Coyotes are going to be relocating, and it's going to go to Houston. I think the Houston arena upgrades that were just announced, $30 million to upgrade their ice facility and produce NHL ice, is largely in being done to accommodate an NHL team. Houston will have a team, even if this prediction is wrong, they will be in the mix for expansion otherwise. But I do think that we're going to see them end up in Houston. Now, next prediction, bold prediction number 26, is that even though the Coyotes move, Bettman is not going to give up on the Arizona market, and we will see a new ownership group emerge to make Arizona another expansion team in the future, in the not too distant future. Just like we're hearing about Atlanta, those are markets that Bettman and the league do not want to give up on. And I'm not saying for sure they're going to get a team, but I do think they're going to be in the mix, so we're going to be hearing a lot about Arizona and Atlanta being two of the markets we look to for future expansion in the next few years once that opens things up. Bold prediction number 27, Islanders GM Lou Lamoriello decides to retire at the end of the season after another campaign of the Islanders having, mediocre season, missing the playoffs. We're going to see Lou finally say it's time and see this team go in a new direction management-wise. Number 28, we're going to see the Philadelphia Flyers emerge victorious at the draft lottery and get the pick first overall and have first selection likely right now, which would be Macklin Celebrini if everything stays the same. Bold prediction number 29, we're going to have an incredibly talented, heated race for the Calder Trophy this year. There is so much young talent, it's crazy. But I'm going to say the 3 finalists are going to be Connor Bedard, Logan Cooley of the Coyotes, and Devin Levi in Buffalo. I think Levi is going to be huge in helping Buffalo be in that playoff mix this year. You're going to see lots of other strong rookies as well. I know it was tough leaving Adam Fantilli off this list, Leo Carlson and Anaheim, and then there's several other rookies as well that are bound to make a big impression. But those are going to be the 3 that end up on the ballot at the end of the day. Bold prediction number 30, we're only going to see 2 coaches fired during the season. If you look around the NHL, there is not a ton of coaches that really make sense to be let go. They're either really new to their job, so their team is going to be patient, that even if they don't have a great year, that's not going to be immediately let go, or some other coaches were just given big extensions, and you kind of just narrow down who would be the most likely ones to go. I don't think this is going to be a year where we see a lot of coaches end up losing their jobs. It's only going to be a small number. I'm going to say as low as 2, and I think the 2 most likely are going to be Lane Lambert with the Islanders and Craig Berube in St. Louis. Look at around all the other teams that are likely going to be near the bottom of the standings. They're either going to get a new coach, or the team's going to be patient because they're rebuilding. One of the main ones would be DJ Smith, of course, that I know a lot of people are probably going to put on their prediction list, but if Ottawa has a good season, then that's not going to happen, and so far I've predicted that they're going to do that, so that's why I don't think that's going to be the case. Bold prediction number 31, we're going to see the Boston Bruins pull off a trade as well to add a top 6 center. Hard to say exactly who that's going to be. They're going to be watching Elias Lindholm in Calgary extremely closely, and if that does not work out for an extension with Lindholm with the Flames, they're going to be all over that. I don't know that they can make it work. It might have to be a different player, but they are definitely going to be wanting to add another centerman to their mix for sure. They're not going to want to be comfortable. I know they're going to give one of their rookies an opportunity here to start the season, but I don't know that they're going to want to run with that for the entire year, and I think that trade will allow them to be more competitive and make sure they remain a playoff team. Obviously, it's important for them to stay in the playoffs, and as much as it's easy to predict Boston take a step back, I think they will, but I don't think it's going to be significant enough to miss the playoffs. Bold prediction number 32, I'm predicting the Stanley Cup comes back to Canada, and I think Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers will emerge victorious. I think this year wouldn't be shocked to either see an all-Canadian final with Edmonton and Toronto, or we could see a repeat of I believe it was the 06 final of the Oilers and the Hurricanes. Either way, I think Edmonton takes Lord Stanley home this year. It's certainly time for a Canadian team to get the job done. We know how hungry the Oilers are, and if they can get good goaltending, and so far Jack Campbell looks to be good, if he can carry that into the regular season and they can platoon Campbell and Skinner, that's really all they're missing, I think, to take that big leap forward to get it done. So let me know what your predictions are down in the comments. We'll discuss further. Stay tuned. There'll be other predictions coming, as well as lots of updates regarding the latest NHL news as well. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.